Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. Every week, Fred Altvater and I check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Carlos, really good. We've had a great couple days up here in Cadillac. This is why we come up here in the summertime. It is absolutely gorgeous. 72 degrees during the day, 50 degrees at night. We got a new puppy in the house, so that's always exciting. Trying to make sure that he understands that the living room is not really a bathroom. So that's always something. And Carlos, I'm actually playing golf, like real golf lately. I'm actually posting a score, which is kind of a scary thing because I haven't done that for a long time. And I actually committed to play in a real tournament this weekend. So on my own ball, not a scramble or a two-man or anything like that. So it's, but yeah, I'm actually playing real golf again.
That's good, you're always teaching, so you need to play from time to time, You gotta keep those skills going.
It is. I tell you, when we travel, when I travel and go on the media tours and I go visit a place and we just play, I just play. I don't keep score. I'm looking at the golf course and, I'm usually with people and we're talking. And so it's not like competitive golf, right? And so it's so much different trying to play and post a score on every hole. It's just a completely different game. And I've kind of forgotten how much I enjoy it actually. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Oh, definitely. And but you know what? Let's talk about something we haven't talked much this year, so we have to apologize for our favorite tour of the LPGA. I mean, it's been crazy that we haven't been talking about them most of the year, but here we are, girls. We're here for you all the time, and we promise we're gonna be talking more down the stretch because it's really getting to that point where, hey, we're going to start that home stretch pretty soon and determine who's going to be the winner, the best player of the year, the rookie of the year. Everything's still up for grabs. But one of the things that we want to talk about first is, of course, the LPGA is unlike any other series. They have 5 majors, and those 5 majors are what defines, of course, the most of this season and the tour, the LPGA tour. And we had 5 different winners this year. Jennifer Kupcho, she won the Chevron Championship, formerly known as the ANA Inspiration, won it in great fashion for her first major championship. She's been a great player this year. She's won 3 times, and that one major, she's finally breaking through.
She's the champion of Michigan. You won twice in Michigan.
Yeah, she's been playing finally up to that great expectation that's been placed upon her. Another player that won the second one, that's the US Women's Open, that's Minjee Lee, and she's definitely was the best overall in the majors this year. She definitely won because the Annika Award is for the best player throughout the majors, and the majors are over. There's no more scoring on them. She was the highest scorer. She was definitely the best player, the most consistent one. She finished T2 once, T4 and T12, and then T43. But that definitely shows you how good Minjee Lee was throughout the majors. Chun, she won the Women's PGA Championship for her 3rd major there. So another great player that it's been now like revived. Chun, for a couple of years we haven't been talking about her, but she's having an amazing year as well. Brooke Henderson won her 2nd major there at the Avian Championship, and the first-time winner Ashley Buhai won the British Open. So those are your 5 major winners. Fred, I'm gonna pass it on to you for some words on it.
Yeah, Carlos, I'll just start right off like you did with the Chevron. And I should mention too, I'll give you a little tease here, working on getting an interview with the commissioner of the LPGA, Molly Marcoux, Salman. So we'll see how that goes. So we're working on that. We're trying to make some inroads there. But yeah, going back to the Chevron back early in the year, Jennifer Kupcho, who we've been following her now for a couple years. And ever since she won the inaugural Augusta National Women's Amateur, This is really her breakthrough season. She could become the American star that fans of the LPGA have been looking for. We kind of predicted this, but you know how these things work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But she seems to be, she's right on the cusp of really doing some great things. As I mentioned, she really likes Michigan. She won the Meyer Classic in Grand Rapids, and then a couple weeks after that, she was paired with Lizette Salas, and she won the Dow Great Lakes Bay Invitational, a team event. So she's currently third in the race to CME and 11th in the Rolex rankings in the world. So moving on to the U.S. Women's Open. Sorry, I'm a little choked up here now. I don't know why all of a sudden having.
I know you're choked up about Jennifer finally reaching
Exactly.
out that potential, right?
Having a little trouble getting some air here for some reason. Let me take a drink quick. But the U.S. Women's Open, Minjee Lee had played in 31 majors, had been recognized as one of the best players in the LPGA for several years, and she finally won her first major at the 2021 Evian last year. Her second major came at Pine Needles just a few months later at the U.S. Women's Open. She has won twice this year, leads the race to the CME Globe, is also number 2 in the Rolex ranking. She's really achieving all the stuff that she's been building up to for now, like what, 6-7 years. She's just always been a top player, but now she's really stepped it up just a little bit. Now she's really right up among the best and one of the favorites every time she tees it up. And the KPMG PGA Championship, Chun, who also finished runner-up in the Women's Open a couple weeks ago. She lost that in the playoff to Buhai, actually. If you remember, she was tied at the end. She kind of, Buhai faltered there at the end, and so they end up tied, but she lost in the playoff. So she had to be close to Minjee for the Annika Award. She has won 3 majors, over 7.5 million since joining the LPGA in 2016. Her first win came clear back in 2015 at the U.S. Women's Open, even before she was an LPGA member. She's been a very consistent player and loves the big events. So in the Evian, as you mentioned, Brooke Henderson won her second major. She also won earlier this year at the ShopRite Classic. Plus, she has 8 top 10s this year. She's always a top performer and is currently number 2 in the race at CME, number 5 in the Rolex ranking. Carlos, I'm seeing a much more consistent Brooke Henderson this year. We've seen her in flashes. She's always attacking, always seems to be attacking. But this year, she seems to be much more consistent and playing throughout the whole season rather than just picking her spots. And then, of course, in the Women's British Open, which just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, Ashley Buhai, who is from South Africa, she's been on the tour since 2007. She earned her card through Q School. This was her first win. Has won over 3.5 million in her career, but about 1.4 of that came this year. So she was 0-3 in playoffs until she defeated Chun for the win at the Women's Open. And with 3 top 10s this year and the major victory, she's over 1.5 million for the year, is number 17 on the CME, race of CME, and 26 in the Rolex rankings. So very good year for her. And you know, she's been around a long time and never quite achieved the things that everyone thought she would do. She was off the LPGA for several years. I think injuries have been an issue for her and different things that she's had to deal with. But now she seems to mature and come into her own. And who knows what we may see out of her for the next couple of years, Carlos?
Definitely. And for Minjee Lee, not only she was dominant this year on the majors, she also broke the record for the lowest cumulative score on 34 under for all 5 majors. And Lydia Ko is worth a big mention. She was the 4th lowest score on all 5 majors and the highest one to score, the lowest scorer that didn't win a major. And she has been super consistent so far as well, with 9 top 10 so far in the year. So definitely, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But Minjee Lee, definitely the top player there. Chun was the second one in the majors. Definitely the top 2 players there so far. But Fred, some sad news we have to talk about also is that, you know, for the 3rd straight year, we've had 2 Asian tournaments canceled. The Taiwan Swinging Skirts LPGA that was scheduled for October 23rd to the 13th was canceled for the 3rd consecutive year. because of the COVID-19 travel restrictions that are in Asia. That is the second tournament of a 3-week Asian swing that the LPGA canceled over travel constraints. The other one is the Buick LPGA Shanghai that was previously scrapped, also for a third straight season. That's leaving only one tournament to be staged in Asia on October, and that's the BMW Ladies Championship in Wonju, South Korea, from October 20 to the 23rd. That's still expected to go on, but it's going to be played at a new venue that is going to be the Wonju's Oak Valley Country Club that is going to be there. So, Fred, sad news on that end, but still plenty of tournaments coming up at the end to end the LPGA season.
Yeah, they did hold tournaments in Singapore and Thailand earlier in the year, but these fall events, with the COVID kind of kicking back up again, becoming an issue and preventing travel, and there's travel restrictions and different things in some of these countries, they just couldn't hold it again this fall. There are 10 events remaining on the LPGA schedule, and there's time for some of these ladies to make a move to get into the season-ending race, the CME Globe, where the top 72 players, Carlos, are going to try to get a piece of the $7 million purse. What is it, about $1.5 million goes to the winner of this thing. I mean, it's a big payout for these ladies. This is a really, really big deal for the LPGA, the CME Globe Championship. And so they're all trying to make it into that and slide into that, and also keep their cards for next year. So I know a lot of ladies still have some work to do. Carlos, one of the things that, we mentioned too, I wanted to ask you about one of your favorite players, Minjee Ko. What's happened to her this year? We haven't seen much of her lately.
So you read my mind, because I was going to just move now to the top players of the year. And of course, right now we have Minjee Lee leading the race to the CME Globe, followed by Brooke Henderson, Jennifer Kupcho, then Lydia Ko, and Chun. Minjee Ko doesn't appear to be having that great of a year. She's still world number one, but for some reason this year she really hasn't been. She has been struggling. She actually has missed the cut at the Women's Open. She has only 2 top 10s all year long. So I am not sure what's going on with Minjee Ko. She still, because of those great 2 years that she still has a good lead over Minjee Lee, but it's been shrinking. Minjee Lee has been all the way up to number 2 in the Rolex rankings due to that great year. Nelly Cordes down to third, Lydia Ko is 4th, and then Brooke Henderson, it keeps climbing as well. So far we have to say, I'm a little worried about her because of those 2-3 years that she has been playing at such a great level now has been like basically nowhere to be found. We're not talking about her or seeing her at top of the leaderboards. I don't know if it's something regarding that change of swing, or maybe something that's happening with an injury or something. That's something I'm really going to find out more. But definitely Minjee Ko, it's that number 1 ranking is really shaky right now, because Minjee Lee is coming and she's playing really, really well, as well as Brooke Henderson. I mean, right now Brooke Henderson has 8 top 10s. The top 10 leaders are Lydia Ko and Atthaya Thitikul, who's leading the Rolex, the Louis Sox award for the Rookie of the Year, which would make me lose the perfect 10 if she wins it. My pick is at number 2 right now. It's a 2-women race there between her and Hye-Jin Choi. So it's been Atthaya Thitikul is right now actually number 6 in the world. So she's climbing. She's been playing amazing. Also 9 top 10s.
As a rookie, she's playing fantastic.
She's playing well. She won once, and she has 9 top 10s. Hye-Jin Choi is second in the rookies. She has 8 top 10s. They definitely have been leading the rookies by far. But definitely, Fred, so far, nowhere to be found about her. And Nelly Cordes also hasn't been shown as well. So those that dominated the past 2 years have shown nothing so far this year.
Well, Nelly, of course, is coming off the injury at the early, beginning of the year. And so she just says, I don't think she's back 100% yet. And, and her sister, Jessica, she got married a year or so ago, and I think she's kind of slacked off her schedule and her practice. But she's playing, but I don't think she's playing at a real high level like she used to a year ago. And so they've kind of slid back a little bit. I'm not saying they won't come back next year and be really strong again. I look for Minjee to get back to where she was. I think if she has a good winter of practice and gets 100% healthy again, I think she'll definitely be one of the players to watch. I want to give Lydia Ko another quick mention. This is one of our favorite players that we've watched for so many years since she's so young. She's put together a really strong year. As you mentioned, 9 top 10s. She's number 4 in both the race to CME and in the Rolex ranking. So she has quietly put together a fantastic year. One more player I want to mention real quick, Lexi. We haven't heard much from her lately, but she's had 3 runners-up, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th this year. She's currently number 7 in both the Rolex and the CME Globe. So she's had a good year, we've seen her falter in a couple majors late. And so that's kind of the thing that's with Lexi, that's what sticks in our mind. We need to see her win a couple tournaments to get that her failures out of our consciousness. Leona Maguire, she's had 5 top 10s with a win coming off her strong performance at Solheim Cup last year. Carlos, I really think Leona and Jennifer Kupcho are the women of the future. I really think that they're the young players to watch in the LPGA over the next couple of years. They seem also to want it a little bit more, maybe are a little more hungry than the others. So I really enjoy watching those two. And I think they're the 2 young women to really watch. You mentioned, we talked about Thitikul. She's absolutely been amazing. No wins, 9 top 10s, 1.4 million in earnings. Tremendous year, way high up there on the race of CME and also in the Rolex ranking. So she looks like somebody to keep an eye on too, Carlos.
She does, and just to say, she did win the JTBC Classic at the beginning of the year. So that's what has been having her there at top of the rankings of the rookies. But definitely, I have to agree with you with the Lexi Thompson mention, and she's just a 7th right now in the Rolex rankings. But I have to give it to you also on the Jennifer Kupcho and Leona Maguire, who's one of my favorite players as well. I think they're the 2 most solid round players of the up and coming ones that we can see, and maybe the ones that had also the most solid amateur career of the ones that are coming up right now. Because we all know about the career from Leona Maguire, one of the best amateur of behind just Lydia Ko in the history, and Jennifer, like you mentioned, winning that Augusta Masters, the young ladies Masters there. Those are 2 really to watch, and I would add maybe Thitikul in the future, because she's been amazing as well. So we'll see. I mean, the LPGA keeps producing stars all over. That's why we love it, and from top to bottom, it's an incredible product to watch. Every week, anybody can win, and the top players always show. So I can't wait to see this last stretch of the LPGA, and we'll definitely be reporting more on it. Minjee Lee definitely seems destined to maybe be the player of the year, and who knows, maybe be world #1 before the end of the season.
Yeah, and 2 of those 10 tournaments are going to be in Ohio, and I will be at the Dana Open in a couple weeks. So we're going to try and get some interviews down there, and like I say, we're going to be trying to talk to the commissioner of the LPGA, Molly Marcoux. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully we'll have something for our listeners to take a look at.
All right. Well, with that, we close up this section. So thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in golf news and information. Remember to subscribe to our channel. The description right there down there has the link. So subscribe to it. Looking forward to bring you more news in the near future. Thank you for joining us.